Time to pick some games. We're going to start in the private school sector. We got St. Andrews, we got Regents. St. Andrews has Preston Dewey. Regents has Dawson Gamble. Who's going to get the win?
Well, the funny thing about it was St. Andrews won a game last week, breaking a 22-game losing streak. So congratulations to Ty Detmer and St. Andrews. I see this as a run versus the pass. The pass being St. Andrews, the run being Regents. I like the tough ground game though, and Regents, they just seem like year after year they spit out these good teams, so I'm going to go with Regents.
With Regents, they handled St. Andrews pretty easily last year, and granted this team is probably not as good as last year's team, but I still think they're dominant enough to be able to run the ball a little bit, and Dawson Gamble's going to be able to do some things on offense and defense for him, so I say they win probably by 1 or 2 scores, but we're talking about both teams, so who knows.
It's good for St. Andrews.
All right, we got Bowie, Westwood. Both teams are 1-0. Bowie beat Pflugerville last week. As we talked about, Westwood had a huge win over Cedar Park. How do you like? Who do you like in this one?
Well, I like Westwood. I think that they've got a little bit too much offense, even though Bowie did a tremendous job holding Pflugerville to just 7. But Ben Johnson, you mentioned him as a game ball. He's just got too many weapons, and Westwood is one of the best of 5A teams in the area right now.
I think this game's going to be an interesting test for Westwood. I'm going to pick them, but it's going to be interesting just because Bowie's defensive line is better than Cedar Park's, and Cedar Park had some trouble pressuring Johnson last week, but with Will Hopkins and a couple of those other big boys on the Bowie line, I think it's going to be a bigger test for them. They're going to have to stop the run a little bit better than they did with Hogan last year, but I think they squeeze this one out and improve to 2-0. Like Travis, you got to see them on Saturday. Do they have what it takes to beat Hendrickson?
Well, I think Hendrickson is an awfully good team to knock off Vista Ridge on the road, but they needed some breaks. A 99-yard fumble return by one player, Towns, incredible. Lake Travis just has too much defense. Corbin Crow had 18 tackles and three sacks. Yep. Zach Struling had 13 tackles. I just feel that they've got too much going on there at Lake Travis, and I don't feel them losing a home game.
Yeah, people forget about that defense, obviously with everything their offense has accomplished, but that defense just every year continually gets better. Might have taken a little bit of a step back last year, but they are back being dominant again, held Westlake to 7 points, and that's really good. And I'm getting to think, it doesn't matter if Mayfield, Lagasse, or Miri are playing quarterback, they're going to put points on the scoreboard. So I think Lake Travis is going to take a victory here. Last game, Austin High Belton. Last year is 66-63. What's going to happen this time around?
Well, I think Austin High won with a 3-pointer at the buzzer, right?
Overtime.
Well, you talk about a game that might be long. These teams like to pass, and I like Caleb Jones. He's, to me, the most dynamic football player in Central Texas. Obviously, he plays for Austin High, going to Texas next year. 10 catches last week and a loss to Waco, but I think Austin High bounces back.
Against Waco last week, they got 6 rushing touchdowns to 1 guy. Their defense, as talented as that offense is with Caleb Jones, and his little brother Isaiah Jones had a really good game last year, 11 catches, and their new quarterback Michael Clausen showed that he's more than capable of leading that offense. But for as much talent as they have on that offense, their defense needs a lot of help. And Belton gave up 21 last week, and I just think Belton's defense is a little bit better, and that they're going to be able to secure a victory. I would say getting to 66-63 again, but it'll be close. It's the worst scoring.
Maybe Robert Jones can come out of retirement from the Cowboys and show him a few things.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
All right, those are our picks. Join us next week, and we'll talk about more football.